Welcome back to the Ross Bolen podcast. I am your host, Ross Bolen, joined today again, finally, by my Maidalage main man, Jared Borislow. It's the return of J-Bone.
J to the B to the O-N-E. I'm J-Bone.
Is this your song now? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Took you 2 weeks, and that's what you came up with, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Jared, I had to wait countless days to discuss this with you, so we have to do it up front. The Rock has seen our faces.
Yes.
The Rock knows my name, at the very least, has read it. And The Rock replied to us on Twitter regarding our theory about him and Kevin Hart secretly hating each other.
Yeah, this made the rounds on numerous tabloid sites I've never heard of before, but made the rounds nonetheless. The funny thing is, the way I saw it...
Only the shitty ones. We didn't get picked up by any of the big cats, which we'll get to.
The way I saw it was I got passed around in a family group text of mine, because I was trying to stay off social media a little bit, you know, do a little recharge. And the picture that was sent was a screenshot, and it was me in the clip. Clearly, because my family was trying to. I was in the clip for maybe like 2 seconds. It was you. It was you for the other 58 seconds. But
I didn't even realize that.
In the picture I saw, it was me. I was like, oh my God, The Rock retweeted me.
Yeah. So obviously you and I discussed the potential of The Rock and Kevin Hart hating each other as they were actively promoting their new film, something about pets or some shit. And so The Rock actually replied on Twitter to the Ross Bolen podcast account, at Ross Bolen Pod on Twitter. And he said, dude, I can 100% verify this. It's actually not a secret. We despise each other. Fuck him. And then a crying, laughing emoji face, which was just amazing. So I replied to him from my personal verified account because it has a check mark and I know that TMZ would see it. And I tagged TMZ at TMZ and I said, oh, wow, did you guys see this? So crazy. You should probably report. And they didn't. But some shitty, second rate, third rate, really, tabloids did.
My favorite thing about the tweet, the original tweet that The Rock replied to, is that you fell into the trap that millions and millions of people have fallen into. Do you know what trap that is?
What's that?
Tagging the wrong Kevin Hart.
No way.
You tagged at Kevin Hart, which is a guy named Kevin Hart.
It's not. Well, Kevin. I mean, Kevin Hart, the comedian's also named Kevin Hart. You're aware of that?
No, I'm aware of that. It's a guy who's not the Kevin Hart. I believe Kevin Hart is like Kevin Hart for real or something.
Well, one of the funniest things about this story is that for like 28 hours, nobody even noticed this had happened.
Yeah.
Myself included. Like, nobody noticed. Nobody said shit to me. Nobody tweeted at me. Nobody fucking informed anybody that The Rock had replied to our podcast, which is obviously a big deal because it's The Rock. He's got 16 million followers on Twitter, okay? So
yeah. Are you willing to say
I just happen to be scrolling through our replies and see The Rock as one of the replies. And I was like, what the fuck? I thought it was like a troll job at first.
Is he a top 10 famous person in the world?
I don't know if he's top 10, but he's up there, man. I mean...
'Cause I don't know how popular he is, like, internationally. Like,
very,
right?
Very, very, very popular internationally. Yeah, I'd say he's one of the more... he's definitely top 10 international celebrities from Hollywood, for sure.
Is he more popular than Jesus like the Beatles were?
I don't know. I can't speak to that. He is the future president of the United States, though. So I was getting texts from all these media people I've met over the years, like, The Rock, dude, The Rock. And I was like, I know. And it's funny because we picked up 6 followers on Twitter as a result. And we did 47 additional downloads on last week's episode. So maybe Elon Musk was right in backing out of that Twitter deal. Because in terms of the entertainment industry, to your point, there aren't that many bigger stars that I would freak out about interacting with the show on social media. Like who's bigger than The Rock? Like Leonardo DiCaprio or some shit? There aren't that many people that I would be like, holy fuck, bigger than him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild. We've gotten some big names over the years, but like Ted Cruz is one of the funniest big names. That son of a bitch. But The Rock is maybe the most influential person that's ever interacted with our show on any level.
Now, consider this. The year's 2028.
And I say this having interviewed a presidential candidate on the show.
Yeah. The year's 2028, Ross. The Republican nominee is Ted Cruz. The Democratic or third-party nominee is The Rock. We will have had both of those bases covered.
Yeah, that's going to be huge for us.
That's going to be.
We got to just pump those clips out.
We should be debate moderators. We've clearly interacted with both in neutral settings.
Yeah, that's true. I think we could be trusted with that job to take it seriously and not make it juvenile. It's already so pathetically juvenile. How could it possibly get worse? Let Jared and I moderate the debates.
And we need Marianne Williamson back.
Borislow Bolen 2024 as moderators. That's what we're running to be. I don't think they vote on that.
It's like Anderson Cooper and like Don Lemon.
It's different people every time, and very rarely do they. It's been a few elections since we saw successfully moderated debates, because our candidates have descended into lunacy.
Who is your
and they're elderly, crazy people running. That's it.
Dream presidential debate moderator? Mine's Beetlejuice from the Howard Stern Show.
Oh, who's that?
You remember Beetlejuice?
I know Beetlejuice. I don't know Beetlejuice from the Howard Stern Show.
He's a great one of the, they had a
Baba
cast of
Booey,
characters.
Baba Booey, Howard Stern's penis,
Yes.
Baba Booey.
One of their cast of characters.
Okay, he was a character on Howard Stern. It's funny how many people he had as characters. You know who the character I remember is when I think of Howard Stern?
Was it one of the hot dog?
The Sibian.
Yeah, that was a character.
It was a vibrating saddle.
Yes, I think that's how you put it.
That's the closest I can say. And he would make hot women and porn stars and models ride it, like Pamela Anderson. He'd make them ride it while he asked them questions.
His career, I don't think anybody
sort of asked some questions. I think he was just masturbating back there. But
I think
you know what I mean? It wasn't really an interview. He was just mostly like, turn it up to the next level, Larry. Oh, yeah, that's good, Larry. That's good. That's a high speed. You could fucking hear it. Like the vibrate. It was so, the thing was insane. It had to be damaging to the vagina. I don't know.
How did
Something
Howard
down
Stern
there was damaged.
Go from like what he was in like the 90s to being like ultra left wing, like guy? He was on America's Got Talent, like a children's talent show, as a moderator for a year.
I think they tried to cancel him for like 3 days, and he was like, "Fuck off! I have too much money." And they were like, okay."
He
Baba,
does
Baba
yeah.
Booey, Baba Booey.
He was like the
Howard Stern's penis.
Sirius XM. Didn't they hand him like
300 million or something crazy like that? Yeah, he's filthy. He's like one of the most successful media people of all, one of the most successful talking heads in the history of what you and I do. Like, he's on the Pantheon. He's on the Mount Rushmore for sure. Howard Stern.
Net worth? Guess. According to the internet, which is
I'm going to say 500 million.
This says
he owns like a company and shit now.
It says 650 million.
650?
That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, but also,
Baba Booey.
Well, 500 million is not what it used to be, Jared. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
What's okay?
Like, it used to be like if you had 500 million back in the day, like, you did some serious shit.
You're saying there's a lot.
Like, you probably
more
owned
people.
a company.
Yeah.
You probably innovated an industry in some way. Now it's just like,
you got investment.
Meme lords who bought some crypto
Yeah.
when it was $3 and shit, and you're just like, what the fuck? It's crazy, but it's just not. It's not the same. And inflation,
There's too many millionaires now. It's kind of pisses me off.
It's not fun anymore.
Especially in Austin. That's the worst. When I see some dude with like a custom Tesla license plate, I took I was in California. I don't remember what it said, but there was a Tesla in front of me.
Yeah.
And I took a picture of it. And Ross.
It's 90% of Teslas. I don't know why the fuck Tesla people. I had my stance on the license plate long before I got the Tesla, and then we made a joke that like I might get my own now that I have a Tesla. I didn't, and I never will. And I don't understand why Tesla people feel that desire so passionately. Like, what is that? They're just like, I got to get one. And out of the 90% of Tesla buyers who go with a custom plate after the fact, 80% of them make a gas-related joke in their fucking custom plate.
If you went to all 50 United States and minor outlying territories right now, I guarantee you that every single iteration of no gas, zero emissions, electric, all electric, fossil, every single one of those is taken in every single territory by some Tesla douchebag.
It's fucking, it really is incredible. It's almost like to the point where when I went to buy my car, I expected them to be like, and by the way, you get 10% off if you get a custom license plate. Like there was some deal attached to it because that's how many people have it. It doesn't make sense.
Would you have done it if it was 10% off?
No, I just don't understand. Maybe. I don't understand. Look, I got plates that have 69 in them, so
Yeah.
I'm
PUBG
pleased with
69.
that. I'm pleased with that, you know. But all in all, I don't understand it. I don't understand why Tesla people feel so obligated to go the vanity plate route. Stop it. You're making us look like assholes. We already look like assholes. Now you're making us look silly.
I told you about the story where I was literally a finger click away on my laptop from getting a vanity plate when I moved to Texas.
It was Ass Man, right?
No, wait, there's no way that's taken. Or there's no way that's not taken in every state.
Oh, it has to be taken.
The one-
If it's allowed, it's taken.
What I was going to get, what I found out, I was doing a lot of research and I went in and I got it approved. I was literally on the confirm button. It was VNTYPL8. Vanity plate.
Wow.
And I had it ready to go. And
That is so not worth it.
I decided.
It's not even close. I can't believe you debated it. I can't believe you came close that you were hovering over it like to click on it. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, the only reason I didn't do it was because I was like, I don't want to have people taking pictures of me at every fucking stop sign and stoplight I'm at.
I always wondered that when I'm behind one and I'm just like, blasting it out to my fucking Instagram and like shitting all over it. I always wonder that. Like, are they just staring at me in the rearview mirror right now? Like, this fucking asshole.
I always sneak it. I always like put it like under my steering wheel and like just barely pop it up because I'm like, they know if I had a vanity license plate.
I don't give a fuck. What are they gonna do? Get out of the car and come tell you to delete the photo? What are they gonna do? Come on.
They're like, don't dox me.
Look, as a guy who's very non-confrontational in traffic and tells you don't even honk at people, I do encourage you to fully take advantage of the fact they know they deal with this every day. You're fine. It's what they signed up for. They didn't realize it, but they were making a deal with the devil that anybody that's behind them for the rest of time can take a picture of their fucking vehicle. Doesn't matter what's happening.
I agree. If you have a vanity license plate,
I'll be driving dangerously and shit. Trying to get that photo too. Trying to get that photo of this fucking asshole's license plate. Fuck.
It's the same thing if you drive a Nissan Cube. You have to have people take pictures of your Cube to tweet at Cube Jeff.
You have to know.
Hashtag you got cubed.
You have to know that's coming. Everybody knows that. Hashtag you got cubed. Anyway, honestly, I wasn't that big of a fan of The Rock before. I wasn't a Rock hater by any means, but I was just a casual Rock acknowledger. Now I'm a super fan. Obviously.
Super fan.
He got us those 6 followers, bro, on Twitter. So I'm all in on Dwayne Johnson. Jared, I am writing him in for the 2024 presidential election, regardless of the fact that he's not running. And hopefully, on top of that, we'll be considered for the position of moderators.
Thank you.
For the debates. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Today's episode is brought to you by MeUndies. Have you heard about the legendary underwear brand that's totally taken over the podcasting world, famous for their buttery soft undies and bralettes? MeUndies loves podcasts just as much as you do. It's like you're made for each other. Get to know the underwear brand on every podcaster's lips. There's so much more than undies. I've been wearing MeUndies for like 5 years, since back when they first started sponsoring the show years ago. Almost always wearing a pair of them. It's there's nothing like them. Super excited to have them on board as a sponsor again because the comfort of their undies is unmatched. The loungewear and swimwear are phenomenal too. The best, Jerry. They're the best, and the RBP gang deserves to enjoy the finest things in life, like the comfort of MeUndies. Everyone knows MeUndies for their super soft undies and comfy bralettes, but did you know they make other stuff too? We're talking durable, cushy socks that will make your feet sing. They are awesome. I have a couple pairs.
Make your feet sing.
Oh my God. I'm a big sneakerhead. Socks are very important to me. I need good socks, and MeUndies socks are incredibly comfortable. They've got super stretchy loungewear, daily tees. They got shorts, rompers that add a little silky softness to your everyday. They even make hoodies for your dog so you can match every important person in your life. Available in sizes extra small through 4XL and tons of colors and prints. Make MeUndies your destination for all things soft and sustainable. MeUndies has a great offer for our listeners. For any first-time purchasers, you get 20% off plus free shipping and returns. That's get 20% off your first order plus free shipping and a 100% satisfaction guarantee by going to MeUndies.com/RBP. That's MeUndies, MEUNDIES.com/RBP for 20% off your first order. Jared, there's one thing you missed while you were out.
Okay.
That I've been dying to talk to you about. So my wife and I went on a rare dinner date last weekend because we had put our name down on a waiting list for this sushi restaurant in Austin called Sushi Bar.
I've heard of Sushi Bar. Don't know much about it. All I know is it's one of those omakase places, right?
So yeah, omakase is what?
It's like, so you go to this restaurant, you pay You're prepared to pay hundreds of dollars, and the sushi maker prepares the menu. It's all like little 1 to 2 bite things. You get like 20 of them.
Preordained menu.
Yes.
You do not get to make many selections. There are like specials you can add on to certain dishes, but everybody's getting the same dishes, whether or not they add the special stuff to
It's like
it.
a Japanese price fix.
Yeah, so I've never been to one of these, but it was. I experienced what I would say was the ultimate Austin, Texas dinner at Sushi Bar.
I feel like I know where
Okay?
this is going, and I'm excited.
Oh,
for
it's
it.
insane. So you have to sign up for this like reservation like 2 months in advance. It was literally months before. I mean, I don't even think we knew my wife was pregnant yet when we signed up for this reservation. And then they call and tell you that you're up in line. And it's like the restaurant equivalent of trying to get Packers season tickets, I guess. Like you really have to be on a waiting list for a minute, considering it's just to go eat for one night.
I'm on the waiting list, just so you know.
Oh no shit. So they only serve 30 people a night. It's 7 nights a week, 10 people at a time. All right. So 3 groups of 10 each night, 7 nights a week, and that's freaking it. It's this little room that's simply one sushi bar you're all seated at.
What part of town is this in?
I have no idea. And okay, so 10 people in the restaurant. We go in, and 2 of the people there are from Texas. My wife and I. The other 8, every single one of them was from California.
Without fail.
All 8. 8 of the 10. You could call this story the Californication of Austin, Texas, if you wanted to. So I sat next to the assistant director of a new Apple TV Plus show that just finished shooting in Austin, starring Jennifer Garner. Next to her was the accountant for that show. They got the reservation through someone above them, I assume either the director or someone else involved in the show, that it fell through. They couldn't come, so these 2 got to come. On the other side of my wife was a flamboyantly gay couple of men wearing matching designer outfits, not like rompers, but like shorts with matching button-down collared short-sleeve shirts. You know, like each of their shorts matched their shirt.
Yes, I can picture
They
it.
both had different designs on, but like matching outfits, like when Harry and Lloyd were matching different colored tuxedos to the Save the Owls banquet in Dumb and Dumber. But it was in Gucci and Prada, like 2-piece beach suits is what I'd call them.
Okay.
It was it was incredible. And when we sat down initially, like the whole group of people is like fairly quiet at first. All right, not a whole lot of talking going on. People just whispering amongst their. Everybody was like in couples. I don't know if that's always the way they do it. Like you can only sign up for 2 slots, or I don't know if you're allowed to get the whole party of 10. No idea. But this was all twosomes, 5 twosomes. And 2 of the twosomes knew each other, I would add. So I guess they were a foursome technically. I don't know I'm just saying, I don't know what the rules are. But the the chefs themselves, the 2 of them, are like asking questions to couples and interacting with everyone. And the booze is flowing. There's 1 person in the room. There's 3 service people, 2 chefs, and 1 person that's dedicated simply to alcohol. Like it is very much a big part of the experience. Like as they're laying out the menu, which is expensive, it's like, over $100 per person. They also lay out and there's also this booze option. You can get flights of sake, and it's $150 for like the nicest one or whatever. It's fucking crazy. That's on top of your meal per individual human. Like it's a very expensive dinner. And, but it's an insane amount of sake that they end up serving. I mean, they're heavy pours, like into wine glasses, and people are throwing it back, and there's one with each piece that comes out, like each course, and it's 17 courses. So people are getting hammered. No one that drinks leaves sober. They're all drunk. And I had myself magnificent mocktails throughout.
Was there a mocktail flight?
No, but there were two options for mocktails, and I had both of them. They were amazing. I love a good mocktail. Although I will say, the only time I really crave a cocktail is when I'm having a mocktail, and I'm not sure that's the intended effect that you really want. Because mocktails are often the beverage for people who don't partake in alcohol, or that are pregnant.
Okay, I've got a question. What was it like? You said everybody there gets hammered.
Mm-hmm.
Were you and your wife the only not hammered people there halfway through?
Oh, within the first 20 minutes, we were the only people that were sober. Yeah. It was they got very I'd say 30 minutes in to the 17-course meal is when I really realized what was happening, like that the percentage was really high, California leaning. And I was like, oh my God, I think we're the only native Texans here. And not only that, 100% of the other patrons might be from California. And then we ended up confirming that once the Californians figured out that they heavily outnumbered the natives, they lost all their filters and started talking about like how cheap housing is here and how they're all buying houses on the lake and laughing about how poor we all are down here in Texas, like absolutely shitting by their way on the home state of California, their home state of California. Mostly with regard to people experiencing homelessness, shitting on their stoops and such. It was bizarre.
It sounds like they're also shitting on us, though.
They were
like,
kind of.
Our state sucks, but look at this place. These people don't even know how much their state sucks.
It was like, look at these fucking idiots. We just came down here and took over because everything is so cheap and they're all so poor. Like, that was sort of the vibe. And I'm just sitting here like, what in the fuck is happening? This is so outrageous. And I could tell, this is the thing. The chefs weren't even shook a second. One of them was an Austin native from here. They weren't shook at all. Because this happens all the time. It occurred to me.
Yeah.
This is a common thing now there. I mean, it was, look, if you're listening and you're like, why is this such a big deal? We've been experiencing this California takeover in Austin for several years now, where as a result of, I don't know, trendiness, I guess, more and more people from California, as a result of their tax situation and other things, other elements to the state, have been flocking here in droves.
The simplest way I can put it is this. You know how home buying has gone up during the pandemic? It went up in California too, but none of them can, not only, some of them can afford homes in California, but there's not a lot of inventory, plus the home you can get in Austin compared to the home you can get in California for the same money.
Yeah, so
is crazy.
To be clear, these aren't like 25-year-olds flocking here in droves. They're 45-year-olds flocking here in droves. They're 55-year-olds. They're people who are like, you know what, screw it. Now's the time. We can sell our $1.5 million house here that's the size of that's a studio apartment, and we can go buy a fucking castle on the lake in Austin, or what? Well, really, now they can't. But you could get a solid crib.
Yes.
I mean, here's the thing to take away. If you sold your house that you had paid off in California for $1.5 million, and you're walking away with that in cash, and you had that in cash to put down on a home in Austin, which is the situation that a lot of these people are in, you could get a fucking castle still. And that is what a lot of them are doing.
And then to that point also, there are like the 35-year-olds who want to buy a house in San Francisco, but are like, okay, not a light inventory here, way too competitive, and you get nothing. Oh, Austin, another tech city, a lot of tech people there, a lot of jobs if I want to change jobs.
So there are a lot of, to your point, a lot of younger tech people buying up what I would consider to be a very expensive housing market, right? Like extremely expensive homes in the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But to them, that is not expensive because of where they're coming from. And then you've got all these 45 to 55 and higher year olds coming in and buying up all the nicer properties. But it is crazy. And look, just to be clear, I'm not necessarily complaining. This is, first of all, I was lucky enough to own a house here, so that I've done well with that. But also, that's just the way it goes. That's how the economy works. Like, a city gets hot, and a shit ton of people move there for one reason or another. And in Austin's case, several reasons that factored in. Yeah. I mean, well, it does hurt somebody.
It does.
It does hurt some people, and the displacement factor isn't good. And the fact that we haven't come up with a way to deal with that as a nation, like, it's going to happen, is what I'm saying. But yes, we should have a better way to deal with it when it does. When neighborhoods get displaced because they can no longer afford their taxes because rich people are coming in and buying everything up, that isn't good.
No.
I get that. But it's going to happen. That is, in America, in a free market, if a city gets hot and everybody moves in and the prices go up, like what do you do? It is what it is. It's a free country. But you got to have a way to deal with the fallout that occurs, which we don't, really. We really don't. And now I've seen that firsthand.
Yeah.
Because I've watched what it's like, levels of people experiencing homelessness in Austin have skyrocketed. It's fucking crazy.
I never want to be the guy who's like, man, Austin ain't what it used to be. Man,
you are constantly that guy.
I know, but I don't want to.
You could not be more negative about Austin.
But I don't want to be that guy. But I have to be.
Yeah, I love it here, to
My
be clear.
cross to bear.
And the reason that this is occurring is because this is an amazing place to live.
It is. Undeniably.
Where I will be raising my children.
It is it's a big city. It's,
Fuck you, Jared, is what I'm saying.
11th biggest city in America, but when you live here, it feels like a smaller city than that because you can get anywhere in like 20
Are we really
minutes.
the 11th biggest city in America now?
Could be higher after all this California stuff. But yeah.
I thought we just cracked 1 million. I thought there was more. I'm from Houston. I always had a very disfigured view of how big cities were because Houston is enormous and always has been.
Third biggest city or fourth biggest city, Houston?
I think it's third.
That's wild.
Fourth. New York, LA, Chicago, Houston.
Houston, yep. That's wild.
Yeah. It is enormous. And in size, it's got to be even higher up the list in terms of like square footage because it's a sprawling metropolitan concrete wasteland.
Swamp? Is it swampy there?
It's bayou-y. I don't know if we got any swamp going. It's more Louisiana. We're not quite over there.
Do you have gators in Houston?
Yeah, sometimes in the bayou, in the Buffalo Bayou.
Like, do they ever, like on golf courses though in Houston? Like, if you're in the woodlands playing around.
It's rare. It's not like Florida. It's not like they're everywhere. But like on occasion, let me put it this way: when it happens, it makes headlines because people are like, "Oh shit, another alligator!" Every once in a while, they'll find like a fucking shark in the bayou. Like, this shark made it from the Gulf of Mexico and ate a family dog.
Speaking of headlines, I got one for you.
Never seen that. Just
The
occurred to
family
me
dog.
that it occurred to me that it could happen. You know.
Here's my headline. I'm not reading an actual headline, but I'm just going to tell you the general synopsis of a story that happened. So there was a disc golf course by where I grew up in Tampa. And recently, probably like 3 months ago, a homeless man died because this disc golf course has a lake on it that a lot of people throw their discs into. And he would go and take and fish discs out of the lake, and the lake was infested with alligators. The cops had confronted this guy multiple times and were like, hey, man.
Stop doing this, sir.
Stop doing this. You're going to get killed by an alligator. And he told the cops, no. The alligators and I have an agreement.
Yeah, it's like that dude that went to live in the wilderness with
the bears.
grizzly
The
bears.
grizzly man.
What was his name?
Grizzly man.
Yeah.
Grizzly Adams?
Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
So yeah, then this guy got killed on a course I've played many times.
Timothy Treadwell
That guy.
was the grizzly man.
So don't fish for disc golf discs in alligator infested lakes.
Thank you, Jared. Anyway, this dinner was so painfully Austin, Texas in 2022 that it physically hurt. Like, to take it even further, one of the pieces of sushi included an apricot kernel from an all-female farm in Afghanistan. And that isn't a joke. Like, that's a real sentence a sushi chef delivered to me before delivering me a piece of sushi that was better than doggy-style sexual intercourse.
An
An apricot kernel from an all-female farm in Afghanistan.
How do you source that?
I don't know. But that's a line from a comedy movie.
Yes.
That's not supposed to happen in a reality. And this is at least, it happens to me weekly now where I'm like, this is a thing that's occurring that is supposed to be in a movie, not in a real world scenario. With an apricot kernel sourced from an all-female farm in Afghanistan. How in the fuck? A miracle farm? That's a miracle farm. The fact that the farm even exists is a miracle. All female? How'd you source that? How'd you find this? What do they fly a fucking helicopter over to every? They're like, all right, now we need to get some representation in the Middle East. Let's go deep.
They're like doing Bin Laden style like raids, but it's just to pick up apricots from this farm. So because
for an apricot,
that country is under control
kernel.
of the Taliban, which is notably not very favorable to women.
Not even the full apricot. The apricot kernel is all they needed from an all-female farm in Afghanistan. Which, yes, I'm curious. How? They must be strapped to the fucking teeth on that apricot farm.
Yeah, they have to be.
The perimeter is secured for some apricots, dude.
I love a good apricot, though.
I mean, it was orgasmic, this fucking apricot kernel.
What's an apricot kernel?
I don't even fucking know, but it was part of the sushi roll that changed me internally in my soul, Jared.
Was that the best bite you've ever had in your life?
This food was unbelievable. I knew going in like this is gonna like first of all, I barely even remember my wife telling me she signed up for this. I put us on the waiting list for this sushi restaurant. It's supposed to be incredible, and I remember going, that's gonna be expensive. I had no idea. I mean, it was one of the most expensive meals I've ever had in my life.
I mean, yeah, I know these things are notably incredibly expensive.
Like, I've never felt more bougie. It was a top 5 meal of food I've ever eaten, and Sushi Bar is now my new favorite sushi restaurant in the entire world, which I can afford to go to once every 5 years. It was unbelievable. I did. It was like after I took LSD at 18 years old. I felt changed like immediately during it, after too. But then the next day when I woke up, it really sunk in. Like my worldview was shifted. It was unbelievable. But the fucking company was absurd. You Californians got to get your shit together. If you're all going to come down here, that's fine. Whatever. Like I said, it is what it is. I get it. If I too would do this in your situation, I would do what you're doing if I was you. Therefore, I cannot blame you. But just try to keep it fucking, just keep your shit together. Just keep your shit together. This is one of the funniest elements to me, is I always think like because I'm from Texas, I must have been exposed to like a level of racism that's probably higher than the normal national average, right? Nope. When I fucking travel, which like the little abroad that I've done, man, people are unbelievably racist, fucking everywhere, outside of America even. But the Californians, they're coming down here and they're saying weird racist shit to try to fit in with the Austin whites, and it's fucking weird.
Did you experience that at the dinner?
No, I've experienced it twice now.
That's weird.
And it's weird. It's weird.
They're like
these Californians, everybody thinks of them, oh, they're all open-minded hippies out there, whatever. Not hippies, I guess that's us here. But whatever they think of, they're open-minded, lefty, lib cucks, and then they come here and they're just like everybody else.
It's like that haunted house tour in I Think You Should Leave. You can say whatever the hell you want down here. Everybody listening, Ross has not seen I Think You Should Leave yet. And I think it's a travesty.
Not only have I not seen that, I don't understand what you're saying.
You would understand it if you saw the show. You're somewhere where you can say whatever the hell you want.
You can? You shouldn't be able to. Not whatever the hell you want. Almost whatever the hell you want.
It's a haunted house tour.
Freedom of speech is confusing, but you should be able to say almost anything. Can't just yell out terroristic threats. They'll take your ass straight to jail for that. It's against the law.
Can't yell at the hot dog is a sandwich. You get your ass beat.
You can yell that, but you'll be assaulted.
Do you think a hot dog's a sandwich?
It is legal, though.
That to me is like the original
question. I was like,
it's the original
Jared,
podcast question.
It should be fucking illegal to bring up on a podcast
That's
in
what I'm
2022. You should be shot out back right now. That's how bad what you're doing
is. It is the original podcast. Like whenever people make fun of people with podcasts, it's like, hey,
I know,
man.
that's why I'm saying, why would you do it? You're on a podcast.
You think a taco is a sandwich?
Today's episode is also brought to you by Felix Gray Glasses. 5 years ago, Felix Gray set out to create eyewear that would improve daily screen time, and since then, Felix Gray has been on a mission to create a better relationship with technology, filtering out 15 times more blue light that can make screen time tough on eyes and disruptive to sleep. I've been working on the internet for a long time now, many years, over a decade, spending like 10 hours a day staring at screens, and my eyes get worn the hell out. And when I'm done with work, I like to relax by watching my favorite shows and movies and gaming, all of which involve even more larger screens. So a couple of years ago, when I was introduced to Felix Gray, everything changed. Their glasses are the quality of designer frames. It's not some cheap blue light coating painted over them that's going to chip off. That never happens. No chipping, no cheapness. Just incredible quality designer frames that are stylish and functional, that protect your eyes from all the blue light that the screens we rely upon emit. It's hard to cut back on screen time if you're in my position. If you're like me, it's tough. It's challenging, but you can do your eyes a solid and get yourself some Felix Grays to get relief from those headaches, dry eyes, blurry vision, and what have you that occurs over the course of your workday. I've got like 6 pairs now. I'm wearing the West frames on my face as I speak. Probably my favorite pair, but I love the Faraday and the Nash as well. Use our URL, felixgrayglasses.com/RBP, to support the show and get free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges, non-prescription and prescription available. Check them out now at felixgrayglasses.com/RBP. That's FELIXGRAY glasses.com/RBP for free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges. I've got a couple of insane headlines of the day for us to take on. Number 1, from NPR. Japan launches a contest to urge young people to drink more alcohol. It's a real thing.
did that at our old job once.
It's a real thing. Young people turning away from alcohol is generally welcomed as a positive trend, NPR says, but it's bad news for both booze companies and governments that are watching lucrative alcohol tax revenues dry up along with the populace. Okay, so just to cover the general sentiment of this opening graph, what they're implying is that as a result of young people drinking less, the government is making less money off alcohol taxes, and therefore they want to encourage young people to drink more because money, which is just, it's not good. I don't feel like, so anyway, back to the story. Japan's National Tax Agency is clearly concerned. It's taking an unorthodox approach to try to get young Japanese adults to drink more in an online contest dubbed Sake Viva. The project asks young people to submit business plans to lure a new generation into going on the sauce, saying Japan's sake, beer, and liquor makers are facing challenges that the pandemic has made even worse. The contest is aimed at, quote, revitalizing the liquor industry and solving problems, end quote, but it has hit a sour note with many people online, prompting pointed questions about why a government that has previously encouraged people to drink responsibly or abstain is now asking for help in getting young people to drink more. But we just told you. Money.
They would not be doing this if there was not money on the line.
They don't care about you. I don't know when, it's fucking insane to me that we still, it should be, you know how there's certain things you have to wake up every morning and remind yourself of? There's certain things you have to wake up every morning and remind yourself of. One of them should be, the government does not care about me. This applies no matter where you are. It's an element of being government that humans are incapable of escaping, apparently. But like, you get too much power and you get too disconnected from the society you set out to represent, and then you end up just this fucking douchebag who makes terrible decisions and makes everybody angry.
I would say the government does care about you, but not in a positive way. They care about your danger.
They care
danger
about
you pose to
They
them.
care about your money. They want your money. And they need as much money as, that's all they want is money. They're trying to get your money.
You are seen as a threat that also has money. And they want to mitigate the threat, but take the money.
You're just another brick in the wall, man. You're just a cog in the wheel.
Damn.
You know, man? And at the end of the day, the man is just, he's milking your labor for profits. And that's what, it is what it is, bro.
Dude, we live in a society
with rules that are set up to hold us back.
What is it, Ross? It's they took away our cure and made us pay for their, I don't know.
What are you doing right now?
They took away our medicine and made us pay for the cure. I don't know.
Sure. Anyway, what the fuck is Japan doing? What about the kids that are predisposed to alcoholism? I assume they have way lower levels of alcoholism in Japan, right?
I mean, if they need money.
I think ours are the worst. Yeah, they clearly. Right? I think America has it. We had the most alcohol-centric culture in a negative, toxic way. And I know Europeans that are listening are like, we just start drinking younger and there's a different level of respect for it. And we don't see it as like, in America, it was like, it's like with sex, man. All these adults wandering around going, what happened? How all these kids are fucking each other in all these crazy ways we didn't even know existed. Yeah, it's because you told us not to. That's what happens. You told us not to drink, so we drank. You told us not to smoke, so we smoked. You told us not to fuck, so we fucked. That's how children and teenagers work. If you tell them not to do something, they're going to want to go fucking do it because you're the man and fuck the man. You know?
Some of them
I don't get how people don't get that. It's pretty fucking simple. It's pretty straightforward. It's common sense, human shit. Fucking idiots. So in America, as we were like, don't drink too much and don't drink and drive, everybody for 20 years straight binge drank and drove to the point that Elon Musk had to invent the self-driving car because it was getting so out of control. And here we are. But yeah, so I don't like, I mean, for just to further my point, this isn't going to work. You think kids, the fucking youths in Japan are going to do what the government says? Can you imagine if the government was trying to encourage us to do some shit? I feel like less people vote because of their voting campaigns. They see it and they're like, I can't take part in this shit. The government sucks at pushing shit on people. And generally, people don't want to do what the government wants them to do.
But they're pushing something cool.
I'm saying that inherently that makes it uncool.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If the government started trying to get me to smoke weed, I think I would stop. I'd be like, fuck it, I got to find something else. Like, a part of the allure to me is that it is sort of a big fuck you to everybody. It is. It's part of it. I'm losing edge. I'm 35 years old. I need something bad boy about me.
So you're saying if
Once it gets legalized in Texas, I've got nothing left. No more bad boy elements to me.
So if there was a purge, like the famous movie The Purge, where everything was legal, you would then be completely, you would do nothing bad? Because
I don't know. That's a pretty extreme example. But in general, anything the government promotes is inherently lame. You think anything Ted Cruz pushes is going to be fucking cool? I almost stop playing basketball when I see this guy playing basketball. He stinks. So the Japanese, this is not a good idea. The children aren't going to think of this. They're going to stop drinking at higher rates because you're pushing alcohol. Weed sales are going to skyrocket. I don't know where they're at with weed. There might be the death penalty still. Dude, the rest of the world is fucking crazy. People bitch and moan about America. Look at Brittany Griner's situation in Russia. She's doing 9 years hard labor. Oh, wait, we do that too. That's the other thing about that story that's so wild. People are like up in arms over this situation. There are people doing hard time in the U.S. for weed. Hard time. You know what they do in prison, Jared? It's not easy labor. It's fucking difficult. I know it's not necessarily the same as a Russian gulag or whatever, but like, did you know prisons in Texas don't have air conditioner?
that seems bad.
It's problematic. The conditions here aren't great. People always like we have a weird version of reality that we've created in the United States where even look at World War II. Look at the concentration camps. What did we have? Internment camps.
Yes. Changed the name.
We changed the name. Now, were they as extreme? Were we doing mass murder on the level that the Nazis were? No. But there's a version of that shit that we did that was really fucked up, that we find a way to like look at it through a different angle or whatever. It's just
it's not as bad as what they were doing.
It's just a weird element, and I don't know how we got to this from Japan pushing booze on their kids, but it's what happens with my brain sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it is whenever the government pushes something, like inherently people don't want to do it, but like it's drinking. Like drinking's fun to a degree.
Yeah, but I don't drink, so I disagree. I think it's like some of us struggle with the devil's cum, and that's what they call alcohol in AA.
Really?
No, it's not. No, they don't.
Why don't we push a sake viva? It says like it's a contest we can enter. Let's do devil's cum. What do you think devil's cum translates to?
I don't know. Can we enter this, or do you have to be a Japanese citizen?
I don't know. I kind of want to see what devil's cum is in Japanese.
Well, the other part of it that's hilarious is that they were like, well, we're not smart enough to think of... They know. At least they're self-aware. We don't know how to connect with the children. Let's get the children to convince each other to drink more. It's fucking... If they did this here, I'm curious what would happen. I mean, I think alcohol poisoning rates would skyrocket. Okay, so now I'm going back to what you're saying. I don't think if the American government pushed drinking on us like this, that people would not bite. We would bite. Americans love alcohol.
They do.
We fucking love this shit. I think if it was given to an incentivized situation, we would be all over that. So maybe the youths in Japan will. What's that?
That's devil's cum in Japanese.
Akama no seiki. All right, I like that. Sounds brandable to me.
I think it does.
Doesn't it have a ring to it?
It does.
Akama no seiki. Devil's cum. Get yours. 20% off with code RBP.
With code government.
All right, here's your next headline. From Axios. Nearly half of college students wouldn't dorm across the aisle. You understand what that means? I'll read you part of it. Nearly half of rising college sophomores say they likely wouldn't choose to live with someone who supported the opposing candidate in the 2020 presidential election, according to a poll by Generation Lab for NBC News. Driving the news, 46% said they would probably definitely not room with someone who supported the opposing presidential candidate in 2020.
Probably definitely?
Probably / definitely.
Oh, I was like, what?
Yeah.
This seems kind of antithetical to the entire point of college.
Yeah, what happened
Getting
here?
another viewpoint other than your own.
Not even the college kids are open-minded anymore. It used to be that you went to college and became like super liberal and open-minded and gay with all your frat brothers and experimented with drugs and started voting Democrat. But this ain't your Uncle Jared's college no more, is it, J-Bone?
No.
Times have changed.
So the one big part of the college experience is living with a random as fuck person for the first year of college.
Did you do this?
Yes.
I did as well.
I moved across the country.
Two different guys in my case, because I was there for a semester, and then that went so poorly that I went home for a year, and then when I came back, I had another first-time roomie type situation who was also a rando. And give me yours. I'll give you mine.
Totally random guy. He's from, I don't know, a couple hours outside Milwaukee. Kind of like a countryside town, more rural. He was in the Wisconsin
Was
band.
he a country boy?
He wasn't a country boy. He was in the band. He was a band guy.
He was a band.
A little bit quieter, super nice guy.
Like the football band? Like
yeah, he was like
dork,
marching
dork
band.
band, not like
Marching
rock
band.
and roll, got pussy band.
Marching band.
Not to say marching band people can't fuck. It's just like probably less
The marching
likely.
band is very incestual. Like marching band bangs each other in college.
That's true. People low key forget, but like everybody fucks, you know?
The band fucks maybe. Imagine like fraternity. Imagine if you had a fraternity that was co-ed and had 300 people in it. There's a
lot of pent up sexual
and
or yearnings, you know?
and they're like what they're all blowing horns each other.
That's true. A lot of sucking and
They're all
blowing,
banging drums,
lip
cymbals,
smacking.
each other.
Wow.
What else do they do? They're all
They're fucking
sucking
Yeah.
just each other. I don't know what
They're
instrument
playing
you
with
suck.
playing with the tips.
Is there an instrument you suck?
Yeah, you no, not really.
No, there is because some of the instruments you blow and suck and both make sounds, right?
This always brings me to like it shouldn't be called a blowjob.
A harmonica.
It doesn't make sense.
The harmonica you blow and suck.
Harmonica is a great internet, like a universal. Everybody can fuck around with it and make a decent noise that doesn't because any old jackass can't sit down at a piano and make a pleasing sound come out. Certainly not a guitar.
Certainly not.
But a harmonica, you can pretty much trust any old moron with a harmonica, and they'll make something that sounds like musical, which is solid. But yeah, it's okay. So 46% said they probably definitely wouldn't. So almost half were like, no way, absolutely not, or whatever, probably not. 53% said they would probably definitely not go on a date with someone who supported the other side in 2020, which is partially funny to me because I don't feel like that's pre-first date information, much less first date information, but maybe it is for some folks. Who the fuck brings up who you voted for? And how would you know that about a person you're going on a first date? Anyway. That's like...
What I don't get about that in terms of like, I choose who I want to associate with based on their political belief. It's like, just so you know, neither of your votes actually matter in the grand scheme of things. That is one vote out of 150 million people who actually vote.
More importantly, you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. You're an 18-year-old kid. Or 20 or whatever. You're a goddamn idiot. You got to be able to know this.
There's a lot of people.
I had a level of self-awareness in college where I was like, I feel like I know everything, but also I realize I'm very, very much in the dark on most things. I had a level, but I didn't have anywhere near enough. You got to have that. You got to know, like, you're a fucking idiot. In 20 years, you're going to look back at the shit that you're doing right now and wonder what the hell you were thinking for the most part. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying at least know your political views at this point are pretty much whatever you were handed by your parents.
Yes, especially freshman year.
Maybe they've developed a little bit. Maybe you've developed some level of belief with regard to whatever political view. Maybe, but you're very inexperienced. You voted once or twice. You got no fucking idea how crazy this shit is out here. I believed a completely different world when I was in college than I believe now. It's just not. It's just you gotta give yourself time. Don't take this shit too seriously yet. You're just a kid. Enjoy yourself, and certainly room with or fuck whoever.
People forget you voted for Ralph Nader in every election up until 2020.
People forget I voted for Marco Rubio in a primary. Yeah. I'm not a fan now of his politics. I don't like that man. But I did vote for him in a fucking primary. So, yeah, shit changes. I'm just saying, be careful. Don't, look, a lot of people these days have a tendency to treat their political party like a fucking sports team, like they're wearing a jersey and rooting for it and like they're part of it. Like, you know how sad it is with sports fans because you're like rooting for this guy and you've got his name on your back and he doesn't know who you are. And not only that, he would probably fucking hate you if he did. This is even worse. It's even worse. As I said, the government doesn't give a shit about you. They just want your money. If you're running around hooting and hollering with a fucking jersey on your back for either party, you're a moron. Stop it. You're being used like a fucking puppet, and it's sad.
Do they make political party jerseys? We could make.
Sure they do.
How about this?
This is $1 billion idea.
It's a $1 billion idea.
We sell our souls right here, right now. We make political jerseys.
But what we do is
NFL style?
No. After one wash, all of the color washes out, and it just says "Jackass" in huge print.
No. Yeah.
You know what? That's actually a great idea in general for a shirt. A shirt that it says something,
and then that when you wash it, it comes out, and you're like, "Where'd I get this Jackass shirt?" Somebody's pranked me with their clothing.
Whoa, dude! This guy's got a Jackass shirt. It's my Steve-O.
63% said they would probably definitely not marry someone who supported the other 2020 candidate. That makes sense to me. If you're a big Biden or big Trump supporter, I get why you wouldn't want to marry across that aisle. It's not necessarily your fault, is my point. We've got to have...
Okay,
we've got to be closer together than this.
She's a 10, but she has the
opposite political party?
Uh-huh.
And or he's a 10 and he's the opposite political party?
But you would never know that unless you talk politics. Like, if you avoid the conversation of politics, you get along perfectly.
I'm saying yes, because I'm 100% confident I could flip her. 100%.
No, but her dad is the guy.
Don't care. I'm winning that war, old man. The future is now, old man. I'm serious. I'm 100% confident. 100%. She's a 10 and she's across the aisle. She's walking across.
She's walking down it.
Maybe not first few years.
Get it?
But eventually, I'm getting that. I'm flipping her.
Did you get my joke?
Like an agent.
It's a good joke.
Yeah, marriage
Thank
joke. Wedding joke.
Please clap.
Yeah.
Please clap.
We have the soundboard. I don't know why he doesn't use it. Anyway, it's pretty mind-blowing. Just the divide in this country is wider than it's ever been. You know, college kids are like, fuck that, I'm not rooming with some Nazi or, you know, some socialist lib cuck.
Yeah, college kids used to be the most, like you said, the most open-minded among us, and now
we're here. Bring us back together, Dark Brandon.
Is that what they're calling him now?
Yeah, you're trying to make him edgy. It sounds racist now that I'm really thinking about it. They've made some interesting choices, the White House. I'll just say that. Today's episode is also brought to you by Talkspace. When it comes to therapy and psychiatry, getting the help you need has never been so simple. When you're able to access your provider from the comfort of your device, it means therapy can be on your schedule, and alleviating the wait times to get an appointment or the travel time to an office can free up time for the rest of your life. Talkspace is so convenient and accessible. Helps me feel supported around the clock. I've been in therapy for over a decade. Can't more highly recommend it. But I understand it can be daunting. Getting started is way less daunting with Talkspace. They make connecting to a licensed therapist easy so you can stop setting aside your own mental well-being. Talkspace takes some of the pressure off that first step. It's a more flexible and convenient way to get high-quality care. Plus, there are several payment options to choose from. Once you've matched with one of their licensed therapists, you can message them anytime through the app or schedule a live session if you need to talk something through. Talkspace is the #1 online therapy platform that has thousands of licensed therapists trained in over 40 specialties, including anxiety, depression, relationships, and more. Your therapist can help you set and achieve your goals. And as one of our listeners, you'll get $100 off your first month with Talkspace. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com. Use the code RBP to get $100 off your first month and show your support for the podcast. That's code RBP at Talkspace.com for $100 off your first month. So we are 16 weeks into the creation of baby Bolen, and I am learning a lot about procreation, Jared. It turns out there's more to it than I previously had realized. For starters, my wife now has a trump card she can play that I have no rebuttal to, and I will explain with a story. The other night, I went to put my phone on the charger on my side of the bed, and I noticed my wife had taken that charger and put it on her side of the bed. And when I said, hey, I noticed you took my phone charger, leaving me with no charger with which to charge my phone, she simply replied, I'm pregnant. And it's not a spot I've ever been in before in terms of acknowledging I have no response or argument to that. Like, I'm pregnant tops anything I can say. Like, and I'm not being sarcastic. It really, like, what can I say? She's housing my spawn. Like, how can I deny her my phone charger when she's growing our human child inside of her body and will be doing so for many more months? I can't. I can't. And as horrible as pregnancy can certainly be in terms of discomfort and sickness and hormone hell for mothers, you have to take some degree of comfort in knowing there is literally no response on the planet that a man can deliver to rebuke you dropping an I'm pregnant. Like, I just bought a house and nobody cares. I survived a mental health crisis. Nobody cares. And that's fair. This overrides everything else. This woman is growing the literal future inside of her. That's the amazing beauty of women in general, is that they can grow another human being inside them and birth it out, and the human race continues on as a result. It's mind-blowing. That fact alone should have them ruling over all of us. It makes no sense that men have maintained control for this long. It really doesn't. Anyway, I'm never going to get that phone charger back, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I'll never be able to thank my wife enough for all she does for our family and growing our baby inside of her, so I'll use the short charger that doesn't quite reach far enough to the bed so that I can comfortably use it in bed, and I'll keep my mouth shut and remember what she's going through for our family every day.
Okay.
That's the lesson.
Alternatively, Ross, for the right price, I will carry your next child, so you will never have to deal with this again.
What is that called?
Surrogate?
Surrogate. Yeah.
See, I know.
Whenever I hear about a celebrity using a surrogate, I always want to know who the surrogate is. Like, that's my immediate human response is like, oh, I want to know about the surrogate. And then I realize I'm part of the problem.
You know what? But there's a like Japan knows, there's a big market for problems. So let's create Surrogate Weekly. It's like Entertainment Weekly, but for surrogates, and we just profile all the biggest Hollywood surrogates.
It's a magazine, and if you leave it in the rain, the cover washes away and it just says Jackass.
Yes.
Today's episode of RBP is also brought to you by Bird Dogs. Bird Dogs have completely changed the game. Their shorts, pants, and joggers are made from the finest high-quality material and come with built-in liner that cradles your stovepipe for all-day comfort. Who the fuck likes being uncomfortable? It is hot as shit outside, and if you're wearing shorts that don't breathe or don't support your nads with a pair of built-in underwear that don't make you feel sexier than Pamela Anderson running down the beach in Baywatch, then what the hell are you doing, friend? It's time to upgrade to the shorts and pants of the future. Your balls will thank you. I'm wearing a pair of Bird Dogs right now. I wear them a lot in the summer, but even in the winter months, their joggers are great. They've got great pants if you're in somewhere that it's a little bit cooler, or you want to wear a pair of very breathable, comfortable joggers out to dinner or to the bar. Bird Dogs has what you need, and because you listen to the Ross Bolen podcast, Bird Dogs is throwing in a free gift with your order. You go to birddogs.com, enter the promo code Ross, and boom, they've had a foam football. They've had
a Game Boy-esque video game
Game Boy
system.
Dad hat. Jared's wearing one right now.
I'm wearing Bird Dogs right now.
A tumbler at one point.
Check out these things
I'm
wearing.
also wearing them. We're both wearing our Bird Dogs. Look at us, Bird Dogs boys. Go to birddogs.com, enter promo code Ross, and a free Bird Dogs gift will arrive with your pair of Bird Dogs. You will not take these things off, I promise you. Birddogs.com, code Ross to support the podcast. In some of the biggest Bolen media-related news to ever occur, the first Game of Thrones spinoff, House of the Dragon, premieres on HBO this Sunday evening. And immediately afterward, I'll be hitting the studio to record Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, the #1 Game of Thrones podcast in the world, reborn as the #1 House of the Dragon podcast in the realm. One of my best friends of over 20 years and co-host Barrett Dudley and I will be covering every episode of House of the Dragon with a companion podcast available wherever you listen to the Ross Bolen podcast, and then with a second ad-free premium podcast available exclusively to people on patreon.com/Ross, Oysters, Clams, Cockles for our OCC supporters and Bolen Media supporters there. So, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles is the name of the show. I encourage everyone listening to check out House of the Dragon, if not solely for the purpose of enjoying Oysters, Clams, and Cockles this first season. I promise you, if the show is not entertaining enough for you, the podcast will be, and that's a guarantee you can take all the way to the Iron Bank, Jared.
That's a Game of Thrones.
And if you're thinking to yourself, eat shit, Ross, I'm never going back to Westeros, well, fine, friend. But at least subscribe, rate, and review Oysters, Clams, and Cockles on Apple Podcasts. Do us a solid, rate us 5 stars on Spotify as well. Do the same for the Ross Bolen podcast as well, and we will call it even. By the way, OCC cracked the top 100 TV and film podcasts on Apple Podcasts, and we are trying to keep that climb going all the way to number 1 like we did with Game of Thrones, so we appreciate your support. It means a lot. Follow at Oysters, Clams, and Cockles on TikTok for House of the Dragon coverage. And if you're one of the people that hasn't tuned in for any of my House of the Dragon stuff at all so far, let me just say this. I appreciate and understand your concerns with the way Game of Thrones ended. I think you're going to miss out if you sit this out. And I'm just being honest at this point. Based on the trailers and the information I have, I think we're looking at a real winner here. And I don't want you to miss out on that. If you loved Game of Thrones and then you got really upset with the last season, I'm with you. This is not that.
I will even make the argument that if you loved Game of Thrones and the last season of it made you not love it, then you never loved it in the first place.
I mean, I wouldn't make that argument because it was really fucking bad.
Yeah, it was, but like then you should be craving something that makes it not bad, and that's this.
I kind of agree.
You shouldn't be avoiding things that might make it better.
I'm just saying, I know people who struggle with letting go of the bad taste in their mouth, and I'm just talking directly to those people. I think you're going to miss something special here. I'm just telling you. And there's that Bill Bolen guarantee that the podcast will entertain you if the show itself doesn't. So, yeah, House of the Dragon starts this Sunday, August 21st on HBO Max. Oysters, Clams, and Cockles recap and reaction podcast drops just hours after that, thanks to Barrett and Jared's willingness to work with me immediately afterward on Sunday evening. Very exciting stuff. Fire will rain. Jared, did you know?
Oh, I knew.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this show.
Happy belated birthday to Eric Welch. Thank you for the love on Twitter. Also, speaking of Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, Barrett and I finished watching all 86 episodes of HBO's classic crime drama, The Sopranos. We made a companion podcast that is friendly to first-time viewers and repeat watchers, available on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles, which is going to be there, available during this Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon coverage. So just wanted to mention that. It was a lot of fun. Y'all have heard me talk about The Sopranos a lot over the years. If you want to watch it or do a rewatch, we've got a companion podcast for you. It's lovely. It's one of my favorite projects I've ever done.
Well, something people I think don't exactly understand about the situation is if you're like, you know what, I do want to start The Sopranos. Literally for $5, you have an hour's worth of podcasting for each of the 86 episodes?
Yeah.
What a value that is.
It's insanity.
86 plus hours of content to go along with you watching The Sopranos. Oh my
and I will
gosh.
say this, of the highest quality content I've ever created. It is really high level stuff. We did a great job. I'm proud of us, Barrett and I really loved the experience, and I promise you will too. So yeah, if you want to watch The Sopranos, it doesn't have to be today.
No.
But just keep it in the back of your head, patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. There will be a tier there.
Like that will entertain you for months. That would literally entertain you for months. Watching the show, listening to the podcast, can't recommend it enough.
Get in there. Also follow this show on social media. We're on TikTok at the Ross Bolen Podcast, on Instagram at Ross Bolen the Ross Bolen Podcast, and on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod. Follow Jared at Jared Borislow, of course, as the F1 season picks back up. Listen to the Formula Bone F1 show, available wherever you listen to RBP, and follow at Formula Bone everywhere. Follow me at WR Bolen on Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, we got a Patreon episode dropping today as well on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. We haven't forgotten about y'all. And then Jared and I will be back next week. Until then, peace be with you and also with you.